welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I'm Tyler.
I'm Shay.
And this is Cinematically Correct. We're going to start off this podcast with a shout out to the people that reviewed us. We have one more. So Shay's going to take it away for the review.
Why did you make that so uncomfortable?
Awkward. I just did because I don't know.
Yeah, so I do want to share the review, but I also want to say thank you to everybody who has been listening, who's been rating us, who's been reviewing, all of that, because if you guys are not following me on Twitter, you should be at Cinematically C. I'm hilarious, so definitely follow me. But also, we announced this last week that we reached number 23 on the film reviews chart on Apple Podcasts in the United States. So for us, that's amazing. Like, I don't know what they use to rate or whatever, how you get on the chart or off the chart, but...
We clearly cheated the system somehow because we don't belong in the top 23.
Yeah, but we don't belong in the top anything.
Well, yeah.
I looked at the chart and, like, we're normally, like, in the 500 range. So, yeah, I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it was some kind of a clerical error, but...
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Keep it going, I guess.
Right. So... As we had told you guys before, reviews are obviously important. That's the only thing I could think of that brought us up there. So if you haven't left one already, please do. Even if you're not on Apple, if you're on a different podcast platform, the reviews apparently do help somehow in the algorithm. So I did want to shout out Imran from the Nerd Podcast. He wrote us a review, I think probably before, and I just missed it last week. But it says, great movie conversations from a fun couple. Really enjoyed the Goodfellas and Grease episodes. Tyler and Shay have a great chemistry, and I love that they are a couple that podcast together. I can't even get my wife to listen to my show. Love hearing their first-time impressions to classic movies. The extra fun facts they bring are great, and I learned stuff I didn't know. God, I subscribed. And the full name of his show is the Jock and Nerd Podcast, which I did actually listen to this past week. And they're really funny, and their quality, like, blows us out of the water. So, like, if you're looking for, like, a show that sounds like a radio show... Like, that's them. Like, it's incredible. So definitely check them out once you're done listening to this one. You know.
Well, yeah. Always listen to us first.
Yeah.
Without question.
Yeah. Obviously.
That's just good manners.
You wouldn't want to miss this anyway. So anyway, this week's movie.
Your choice.
Was my choice. And I actually got this suggestion on Twitter a while back. I think I asked you guys in, like, January what you wanted us to cover. And so we always do one from you guys. And the Gorilla Brain podcast recommended She's All That. So, I mean, the 90s person in me was like, yes, please. I need 90s in my life. So,
well, yeah, it's the quintessential 90s movie. It's up there with 10 Things I Hate About You and
every other 90s movie. She Drives Me Crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, all of them. So I had to do it. So thank you for recommending this. And yeah, I guess you want to give us a little...
brief synopsis?
Yep.
Brief synopsis.
And then you got to get into beer before we move too far.
Brief synopsis. So the movie is about a bunch of high school students. They're, for the most part, all rich and entitled. And two of the golden boys make a bet to make a not popular girl the prom queen. And it's all about him falling for that girl through the movie. It's
very predictable, but also very adorable. It's very 90s.
100% every other 90s movie ever made, basically. All amalgamated together. That's it.
Basically, yeah. So why don't you get into your beer?
All right. So my beer this week is Ransack the Universe. And it's an India Pale Ale because you hate me. So you picked it probably because of the can has really great artwork.
It has a fantastic artwork, and it has a TV on it.
TV for the reality star.
Yes, the reality TV star. You right.
And then in a weird, twisted bit of fate, I don't even know if you saw this, but it's brewed by the Collective Arts Brewing.
So basically, it's perfection. So
I mean, you nailed it, but you hate me.
I mean, also yes, but you're welcome.
Yeah, it's not very good. I mean, I'll give that a 3 and a 3 even. 3.25. It's fine. It's not as bad as the last one, but it's not my thing.
So next time I have to try a little bit harder, is what you're saying?
Yeah, find something that is watchable or drinkable with the movie.
It's really hard to do, but I'll try. I will make an effort. Anyway, so we should probably get into the characters of the movie. Yeah. So, I mean, the main character is obviously Freddie Prinze Jr.
Right.
What do you know him from?
Scooby-Doo.
That's it?
Well, he's in a bunch of things. That's the one that comes to my mind. He was actually in that with one of the other characters in this movie, oddly enough.
Yeah, his wife, you mean?
Well, no, I was talking about Matthew Lillard, but also his wife.
Also his wife. Yes, you're right. So Freddie Prinze Jr. plays the jock character who has just been dumped by his girlfriend, and he basically is like, I have to make somebody else prom queen, and
out of spite, really.
Really,
because
yeah.
He has to protect his ego. He's basically the golden boy in this school. Like, nothing he does is ever bad.
Although, like, real talk though, how is he more popular than Paul Walker? How?
Well, because he's the captain of the soccer team.
But Paul Walker's Paul Walker.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but...
And can we just say soccer is not the cool sport to play in high school?
Okay,
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Football Snob. Okay.
Well, football is obviously the better sport to play in high school. It just is. Especially in America.
If you say so.
Yeah, I do. All right, next character.
So Laney Boggs is played by Rachel Lee Cook. I don't think I know her from anything else. I'm actually scrolling her IMDb currently to see if there's anything that I recognize, but I'm going with no. I don't know her from anything else.
I don't think she was in anything noteworthy after this movie, really.
Well, I mean, that's horrible. So if you guys know of movies that she's in, this is obviously our first time covering her, and we'd be happy to do another movie with her. I have nothing against her.
I mean, it is our MO to do movies that no one has ever heard of, so that might actually
we're down.
fall into our wheelhouse.
Now, I will say her name, Laney Boggs, came from a combination of Winona Ryder characters.
Yes.
There was an Edward Scissorhands character,
yes.
And I don't remember the other one. Do you?
I do not offhand.
Well, regardless, that's not really relevant. The point was that the reason they did that is because they felt she looks like Winona Ryder.
She kind of does.
Does she?
She kind of
I
does.
really don't see it. Is it just brunette and short? Like, I mean, that's all I got there.
I think it's the angular face, too. She's got that kind of...
She has an angular face.
Well, she has that very stern, kind of almost resting bitch face, but not quite.
Careful there.
Yeah.
So does your wife.
Well, yeah. But you're also my wife. So
do I look like Winona Ryder?
No.
Confusing, but okay. I'm curious if you guys actually feel like she does, because I am on the she does not look like Winona Ryder camp. Oh, okay, Matthew Lillard. Lillard. I don't know why I said it all at once like that. But first of all, he's one of the best characters in this movie. Like, fantastic.
If you mean worst person that I want to strangle with any available object.
Exactly. He played it perfectly. He made you want to hate him.
He nailed the unlikable character. I will give him that.
He did. And his dance moves?
Terrible.
Which is awesome.
Terrible, therefore good? Okay.
When it's the hated character, you want them to be awful on the dance floor, and he nailed it.
I just wanted to beat him with a sock full of batters. Just murder him. Just every second he was on screen made my eyes fill up with red in just a blind rage.
So he plays the reality TV star from the real world, Hello 90s, that came in and took the prom queen from Freddie Prinze Jr.
Right, which really, if you're dating a high school student, that's just the epitome of sad if you're not actually in high school.
It's also kind of illegal.
Well, she was a senior, so it might have been legal, but it's still the saddest of sad. It's really inappropriate. It's just creepy.
There's a lot going on, and going to a high school party, it's just uncomfortable.
So much cringe.
I know he was in Scooby-Doo. I don't know much else that he's in. I mean, I recognize him as if he was somebody I know a lot of, but
he was in the Scream franchise, I believe.
Oh, okay. He was in The Good Wife. I think I mentioned that like every podcast. It's kind of a lot. But yeah. Anyways, he's amazing. So I will watch every Matthew Lillard movie that anybody throws at me. Yeah. I'm down. So, yeah. Anyway. We do have to mention Paul Walker because, of course, he's passed away, which is awful and tragic. But he plays a terrible character in this movie. Like, the character you want to hate for the rest of your life. And he plays it well.
Different hate. Yeah. It's not
No, this is the jock that knows he's a jock and knows he's hot shit. And
right. He's got the my shit doesn't stink, I can do whatever I want, there are no consequences for things kind of cavalier, people don't matter because I'm the only one that matters attitude.
Right.
And he plays it well. I mean, credit where credit is due. I hated his character. So, good job.
Right.
You succeeded at what you were trying to do, making me hate you.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So, there are some West Wing characters we wanted to give honorable mentions to.
Dooley Hill, we have to mention, just because we've been watching a lot of West Wing, and he's Charlie, and he's awesome.
Right, and he's also on Psych, but
yeah,
really he's Charlie on West Wing. That's just who he is.
Well, he's also on Psych, but he's just so great in everything he does.
Right, so he plays like one of the like side jocks, like.
Yeah, he's almost like the instigator between the two. He's playing the two alphas against each other, just as a let's see what happens if I poke holes in things.
Right, he's hilarious, and I love him.
Yeah.
I love him in everything he does. So. Had to mention him. And then we also had to mention Tim Matheson, who plays the vice president in West Wing.
Yes.
And in this, he plays Freddie Prinze Jr.'s father.
Yes.
So, I mean, he plays almost the same role. Like, it's like...
Yeah, it's kind of the stern, overbearing father type, just guy with gravitas, and you have to listen to what I say because I've made something of my life.
Right, basically.
Yeah.
So is there anybody else you want to mention before I annoy everybody?
I mean, the rest of the characters are, for the most part, not very relevant. There's the main popular girl, but everyone hates her too.
Right. I mean, this is a film debut of Gabrielle Union, who was also in 10 Things I Hate About You that we also covered, so...
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, there's no one else really matters.
Okay, so I dedicate this to Stork, so you're welcome. But Milo Ventimiglia, which plays Jess in Gilmore Girls, was one of the soccer players who helped clean the house of Laney Boggs when he brought in all
in the
the
hazing...
players. Yeah.
Scene so they could go to the beach.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it needed to be said. I mean, I'm Team Jess. If anybody wanted to know, I have a shirt that says Team Jess. So, in case anyone was curious.
She actually does. It's something that I'm trying to lose.
Right, and if you don't watch Gilmore Girls and you need to see him in something else, he's in This Is Us as well. He was also on Heroes. You're welcome. You're welcome. Anyway, so...
All right. You happy?
I feel like really fulfilled, actually.
I'm sorry, man. Nothing I could do.
One of these days, it won't work out, but sorry.
How despite you're going to find a way to make it work.
Oh, I am. It's going to be instead of the degrees of Kevin Bacon, it's going to be Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
So, you're welcome.
Right. Where do we go from here? What are we talking about?
So, we have a lot of topics in this movie because,
yes, we do.
First of all, it's 90s, and second of all, there's just a lot going on.
So much 90s. Wiggage. There was a lot of just random 90s everywhere. It was overload.
Right. So, for you guys that really like when we talk about the plot, I got to tell you, there's not a lot of plot going on. It's literally like Zach is kind of wooing Laney so that he can win a bet, and then it blows up in his face, and then he falls in love with her, and that's the movie.
Yeah.
So, but they do have some serious, things that people go through that they kind of deal with in this movie. So, one of the ones that we were kind of talking about prior to recording was the pressure on Zach to conform.
Yes. So, for a big part of this movie, he's putting off going to college because his dad has these high expectations that he's going to go to Dartmouth, his alma mater. He's going to go into the same kind of field of study, probably follow in his father's footsteps, do exactly what he did, and his life's going to work out from there. But that's not what he wants.
No, it's not. But he doesn't know what he wants, it seems like.
Well, yeah, he has never really had any choice for his life. It's always been laid out for him. Mm-hmm. Which I feel is not an uncommon thing for a lot of people, where they have their parents' ideas of what they should do in their head, and they almost feel obligated to live their life according to that. Mm-hmm. And it's a big issue. I don't think that gets talked about a lot.
No, and I mean, I don't think it's only parents either. I think it's also society tells you need to do a certain thing, stuff like that. So I think we all feel it in some level, especially in high school. I think everybody does.
There's a lot of pressure when you don't even know who you are in high school. You don't even know who you are in college sometimes. It's one of those things where you just have to muddle your way through and learn for yourself what makes you and what makes you happy.
Right. I do think it's interesting that in this movie they show it through a jock, because normally you're going to see that kind of thing with like the nerd character or like some ancillary character, but you're not going to usually see the popular kid really struggling with that.
Well, it's going to be the kid that doesn't have a thing where he doesn't have sports, doesn't have art, doesn't have some kind of thing that he can do to identify, and he's kind of on the outside of all the groups. Right.
So basically this was the writer's way of making Zach a sympathetic character because he first came off as a douche, is how I read this.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's what they had to do, because he was through the first part of the movie a giant douche.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, and it's also Freddie Prinze Jr. though, so he can't come off as that much of a douche. He has like that kind face.
He does, but he could definitely pull off arrogant if he wanted to. He can definitely pull off the,
I guess,
superiority thing.
You think so?
Well,
I don't see it.
He's an actor. Of course he can.
I guess. Okay. So on Twitter, we do an audience ask section, and I only pick usually 2 questions. But this one, even though I had already picked my 2, like got me thinking. So I kind of wanted to just talk about it with you. The Contrarians, which they do a podcast and they're wonderful. So, definitely listen to them if you can.
They're not contrarian?
They are contrarian sometimes, but lately they've been in agreement with us. So they're my pals. Anyway, they asked if we ever get this movie confused with 10 Things I Hate About You.
Well, no, because 10 Things I Hate About You is in the pantheon of favorite movies of all time.
Well, right.
You wouldn't let me confuse this movie at all, but they do have a lot of things that are similar.
Well, right. Okay. Yes, if you didn't know, 10 Things I Hate About You is one of my all-time favorite movies. We did cover it, I believe, last year.
Yep.
But since they had mentioned that before we actually sat down to watch the film for, recording, I really was thinking about it while it was on. And it is really similar. And 10 Things I Hate About You came after this. So it kind of makes me a little bit like...
Plagiarism?
Yeah, like, did they or didn't they? I don't know. But anyway, they were both done after a play. So for 10 Things I Hate About You, obviously it's Taming of the Shrew. For this one, it's... Pygmalion? I can never say it. I was going Pyamegmon, so... Pygmalion. They both have Gabrielle Union.
They do.
Yep. They both are based on a bet over a girl.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unfortunate.
And it's also a bet to get the girl to change who she is.
Right. They also both have the main female character does not have a mother.
Yep.
And the father is kind of like aloof and weird at the beginning and then comes around to be really supportive and super nice.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically carbon copies, really, in a lot of ways. They're very on track and have the same story.
Yes. Now, in 10 Things I Hate About You, I would say that Julia Stiles' character is a lot more edgy, and I know that this character technically is kind of edgy, but it's
more of a soft, poppy, edgy in this movie. It's not really the...
Right, and that one is, I don't give a damn about my bad reputation.
Well, right. This one, she's all deep and artistic, but there's no real edgy quality.
Right. No, she's still a sweetheart.
Yeah.
In Julia Stiles' case...
She'll cut your face off if you cross her.
He kicked himself in the balls.
Yeah.
So, And I think 10 Things I Hate About You was a little bit more edgy of a movie of itself. I mean,
I also would have to say that I like Heath Ledger's character in that movie way more than Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh, yeah. I mean, attractive factor times 1,000.
The accent is just unfair.
Everything.
Yeah,
it's just...
So
10 Things I Hate About You, did it better, is what I would say.
I would argue that's probably fair.
So, sorry, copying isn't good, but if you got a copy, make it better.
Sincerest form of flattery.
Yeah, so I guess.
They really liked your movie, She's All That.
Exactly. So, anyway, I had to cover that even though it wasn't going to be an audience asks. Okay, do we want to talk about M. Night Shyamalan?
The controversy over did he or didn't he help write this movie?
Yeah, so the internet is really confused about this.
It sounds like the director and the people that produce this movie are confused based off what we saw.
Yes. So to give a brief little overview, I guess, M. Night Shyamalan had claimed that he ghost wrote this movie. It was then denied that he did not do so.
Right.
It was then admitted later on in the bonus things of this movie that he contributed to the script. And then it came out a little bit later that he, in fact, rewrote the script. So I don't actually know what exactly is true. But I have to say, this is not an M. Night Shyamalan type movie.
It's not. But we're going to find out that this is a movie that he rewrote the script, directed secretly, and produced. And it's entirely his movie at some point. That's the truth.
Yeah. I mean, there are parts of the movie that they do point directly to him. So I guess it could be true. But the other writer, his name was Fleming. And there are things that he takes credit for. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, the Hanson references, for example, the Fleming guy takes...
God, insufferable.
Zack and Taylor, the picture, So...
Hanson, name a more 90s thing.
Well, ever. I mean, you have to mention it. But I don't know. So, but do you, think about the film any different? Because, I mean, When I think of M. Night Shyamalan, I don't think of rom-coms.
No, there's no twist ending. Like, where is the twist ending? It's not there. Like, is it really an M. Night Shyamalan movie if there's no twist ending?
I mean, I guess not. But there are some things they attribute to him, like, am I a fucking bet line, which...
is a great line in this movie.
Right. And
Fair.
then also they attributed the hacky sack scene to him.
Oh, okay. I actually like the hacky sack scene. Did not at all care for the performance art piece.
You didn't like the whole, like, birthing thing that was going on?
No, the trash fire was appropriate. It was a garbage fire of a performance.
Just to annoy Stork more, there's actually a birth scene just very similar to that in Gilmore Girls, so you're welcome.
No, it was a garbage scene.
And maybe it was a thing in the 90s. People liked birthing art.
I mean, I don't doubt that the New Age performance art thing was a thing in the 90s, but it was a thing that needed to never happen again.
Well, it happened multiple times,
God,
so I'll make sure that we have another New Age art piece.
We're not doing it. Not doing it.
That's cute that you think you have a choice.
But yeah, where do we go from there? So we talked about M. Night Shyamalan, and
you say where do we go from there a lot. You're gonna make these people think that you have no idea what we do in the podcast.
We're fighting by the seat of my pants, even though we do a little bit of prep work for it.
I do prep work?
We do it together, and it's quite a bit of prep work, but it's still...
Okay, well, the other thing that we had written down, there's a debate on the internet about the character of Laney's best friend. His name is Jesse.
Right.
And at the beginning of the movie, you kind of really don't know much about him. He's really just kind of the guy who's, constantly building her up. He's
right.
really...
He's the friend that you want to have. He'll be there for you if you need someone to talk to. He's the one that's trying to push you in the right direction. Do things that you wouldn't normally do because he knows they're good for you.
Right. Now, obviously, we're coming off of watching My Best Friend's Wedding.
Yes.
Which, best gay best friend ever. And if I can ever find one like that, I'm in. So, I can't lie and say that I didn't make connections there. Obviously, I did.
Well, I mean, it was fair to make that connection given the context of their friendship, at least for the start.
Well, and also there is a point in the movie where she is I think it's at the cafeteria, and she says something like, "Am I not kissable?"
And he just kind of freaks out.
Like deer in headlights, and he's like, maybe if I didn't know you for so long, I don't know. But it was very
maybe he just is either in love with her or he doesn't view her that way at all, and they're just actual friends.
Yeah, I mean, it could be any of the above. But there is a debate on the internet going on about the fact that he comes across as gay to people who have watched this movie. But then at the end of the movie, he's basically in a relationship or starting a relationship with Freddie Prinze Jr.'s sister.
You're right. Anna Paquin's character just hitting it off at the end at the prom.
Right. So I want to read what they say because this is different from my own perspective. So I want to make sure that I say it the way they said it. But they say, gay best friend is an annoying and outdated trope that needs to go away. Clueless, Drive Me Crazy, several of the films of the period offer numerous examples of this character and all are carbon copies. Aren't we at a point where we can see more to straight female gay male relationships on screen than chopping and sassy quips? In the very worst examples of this relationship, they don't even allow the characters to be gay. Jessie fulfills every cliche responsible of the gay best friend and she's all that. But at the 11th hour, they shoehorn in a relationship with Zach's sister, Anna Paquin. At least let your stereotype be a stereotype.
Well, yeah, but that's the part about breaking down stereotypes. He doesn't have to be gay to have those characteristics.
Right, he could be effeminate. He could just be not interested in her.
Right. There are a lot of things that you can explain that away where you don't have to just be gay.
One of my male best friends is very much not gay. But he's constantly building me up, telling me how wonderful I am, like whatever. But if I were to ask him if he was attracted to me, he would look like a deer in headlights. He would not know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, that's just...
Because that's Taco. Like, am I about to destroy a whole friendship right now, like in this moment?
Well, yeah, it's one of those things where you can have a friend from the opposite sex and not have to fall into that category that you either have to be in love with them or gay.
Right.
So
now, did he come across as a little bit feminine? I guess.
I mean, there were a couple moments where he would. I mean, yeah, but at the same time, it wasn't over the top. It wasn't crazy. No. It wasn't anything where.
Nothing was overt to the point where I thought anything. I did read on Reddit. There's a thread about this, and they said one of the points they pointed to was that he said that Zach was the hottest guy in school, but You can acknowledge, like you said, Heath Ledger is one of the hotter characters. You can acknowledge that a person is hot.
You can acknowledge that a person is attractive without being gay. Like,
right. There's plenty of women. I mean, I've got a hot Dunkin' Donuts girl. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean I'm gay. It just means I appreciate their attractiveness.
Yeah. I mean, that's just...
It's fine.
Don't just assume that a person
Don't assume my sexuality.
Don't assume that. Don't assume anything. You can't know a person until you know the person.
Right.
So... back the hell off.
Right. So let him be what he is and don't stereotype him.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't put him in a corner. No one puts Babe in the corner.
You had to. It was just there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I wanted to talk about it because it is something that's really discussed on the internet. But needless to say, I don't think they did anything wrong. I think they just let him be who he was, whatever that may mean. And maybe he doesn't even know. He's in freaking high school. Let him be. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, the other thing that the internet has a problem with, the transformation. I mean, not just the internet. The parodies also obviously have a problem with it. So,
well, yeah, the parody, Not Another Teen Movie, that does basically this entire movie, but comedy.
Yeah.
It's so over the top obvious that she's attractive. Let it go. Like, come on.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
We're suspending reality because she's wearing paint-covered overalls and wears glasses. Really? I mean, I guess it worked for Superman, but come on.
You use that example because you know that this was modeled after the Clark Kent transformation, according to the writer of the film.
No, I'm not using that for that. I'm using it because it's the only parody that makes any sense at all, because it's Superman. Like, come on.
So, what I read on Wikipedia is that the writer of the film wasn't looking to make it a dramatic transformation. They were looking for it to be more of a subtle thing that you would have to kind of suspend your belief there type situation, because they didn't want it to be where you're taking an ugly girl and making her pretty for the jock. Like, that was a little bit problematic. They wanted it more to be like somebody who was a little bit insecure and they found love and they were able to blossom into the person that they wanted to be.
Right. It's more a positive transformation than a transformation for the wrong reasons, where you're turning yourself into what you expect that person wants, not because that's what you want, but that's because you're trying to shoehorn their expectations
right
for you on yourself, and it turns into a mess.
Right. Like, as her father said as she went to prom, have fun, but for you, not for anyone else. And right. I think that's what this glow up was supposed to be. A glow up for her, not for anyone else. Even though his sister did give her a dress and all that kind of stuff, I think she's still in that whole process of like meeting him and getting to know him, kind of blossomed out of her shell. So I think that was more what it was supposed to be, even though, I mean, it was kind of ridiculous that like she walked down the stairs and you're like, she looks exactly the same.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. I mean, I did see a piece from a Superman comic that made fun of itself for that, where a baby was in a shopping cart and grabbed a pair of glasses and put it on, and the mom turns around and goes, "Where's my baby?" Making fun of that obvious, you can tell they're the same person. Come on.
Right. I mean, yeah. A little ridiculous, but also, like, I appreciate what it's supposed to mean.
I mean, we're supposed to suspend reality for movies anyway, so...
kind of have to.
Whatever.
Right. Whatever.
In for a penny, in for a pound. Why not? Go with it.
Right. Now, there are some problematic things in this movie. So...
problematic things. That's an interesting way of saying that a despicable human being was involved.
Yeah. So, I mean, I want to talk about the larger topic of sexism, because I try to make sure that we do discuss if there are problematic things. I feel like as a female, it is my kind of job, even if I like the movie, to kind of point that out. So, I mean, obviously, betting on a woman is...
it's going to get you hit.
It's not good optics. You know what I'm saying?
Not a good thing.
No. So, there's that. I mean, for the most part, they don't really have a lot of overt horrible things, but I will say...
well, there's the bet is making it like she's not relevant, and she belongs to somebody.
She's property.
She's property.
That's a big problem.
That's a big problem. There's the Paul Walker scene where I spent $300 for this hotel room.
That's where I was going next.
I am owed that thing.
Yeah, like, I mean,
no,
that's disgusting and horrible. And
you spent $300 to spend $300. Like, get over yourself.
If anybody ever said to me, "Oh, but you owe me because I spent $300 in a hotel room," I would then run up your room service bill for the fun of it and then leave.
Well, it's
Bye-bye.
just like going to a dinner and expecting something after dinner because you paid for
men
it.
do
Like,
that
that's
all the
ridiculous.
Time. Or I bought you a drink. You must come home with me. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. But it is speaking to a larger problem that women still experience today. The idea that men can put out money and in return get sexual favors. And that's disturbing and horrible. And I really, 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 really hope that it is on the way out. But I mean, it is still part of our culture, very much so.
That's going to be a hard thing to stamp out, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it is. But we do have to mention Harvey Weinstein.
Well, tied to that is the sexual assault and the treating women poorly.
Yes.
Definitely goes hand in hand with Harvey Weinstein, although not consensually.
Oh, gross. Okay, so I did not know he was tied to this movie before I did this. I also didn't know that his case was going to resolve the same week that we did this, so this was not planned. But Harvey Weinstein was...
Happy ending?
Ew, come on. Just
Sorry,
ew.
I couldn't help it. It's
okay.
really not great.
It's not really a funny thing, but so excuse him for not understanding the gravity of this.
Well, he did get convicted and sent to prison, so that's a good thing.
Okay.
Like, he's a despicable person. And
Let's first start. Okay, so Harvey Weinstein was heavily involved in the script and heavily involved in the casting of this film. So what Tyler was just talking about is the fact that this past week he was convicted on 3 counts of rape/sexual assault, but he was not convicted. No, 2 counts. I'm sorry. He was not convicted of 3 counts of, it was like rape in the first degree, I believe,
Something
and
like that, yeah.
aggravated assault, like the bigger charges. He was let go on those. Now, I understand that it is really hard to convict in a rape case. I understand that, but it's still kind of a slap in the face when 80 people accused him.
Yeah, legitimately enough to field an entire college football team, for God's sakes.
Yeah, so not great. And to have him attached to this film does give me a little bit of a different feeling.
It does give the treatment of women in this movie a much darker connotation. It's almost like, well, we could have, it's not great, but we could have almost let it slide.
Right.
But now it's just,
like, okay, M. Night Shyamalan added the line, am I a fucking bet? And, like, part of me is like, yeah, I guess you're giving her that line, like, to give her empowerment, but also, like, you're acknowledging that she was a bet, and I don't know how I feel about that, but I can let it go because you're M. Night Shyamalan and I love you. But
Right.
now I know Harvey Weinstein wrote part of the script, and now I question what parts he wrote, and was the bet part something he wrote?
It taints the movie because he's a tainted human being.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. It makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me feel weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me like the movie less per se.
Kind of
But
makes me like the movie.
it makes me not want to watch it again.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. So I needed to make sure we said that because I don't know if people know that he's attached to this movie, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to definitely promote you guys watching this one. Maybe you can just listen to us and do the whole nostalgia thing this time around. Normally I ask you to watch it, but
Right.
yeah. Anyway, uncomfortableness
Moving
aside.
on to a happier topic, please, for the love of God.
Well, the only other thing in this movie that we wanted to talk about was hazing, and I think that's because of your football days.
Well, yeah. I mean, the hazing in this movie was kind of thrown in there and laughed off, but there were minor hazing moments of making the JV team clean a house, which is, I mean, not
Hey,
that...
Jess.
That's not a big deal. Like, cleaning a house is not going to kill you. But the eating the pizza with the
Pube hair?
pubic hair on it is just so...
I couldn't watch the screen.
It was so uncomfortable.
They zoomed in so you could see the hair on the pizza go into his
Yeah,
mouth.
it
And
was
first of all, I want to know, did the actor actually eat hair? Because you saw it go into his mouth. Or did they have some special effect? Or what? Like, I want to know. I
For
have
the love
questions.
of God, it has to be synthetic hair, right? Like, it has to be.
Even if it was, I don't like that feeling in my mouth. Like, I don't even like when, like, cheese gets that, like, hairy, like, stringy feeling. You know, sometimes when it's, like,
Yeah.
I don't even like that. It makes me uncomfortable. So, like, but did the actor put hair in his mouth? I want to know. This is, like, back in that movie, Goodnight Mommy, when she actually put the bugs in her mouth.
Oh, God.
Like, this
No,
is the
it's
situation.
just
I need to know.
So not appropriate. It was uncomfortable the whole way around. And they kind of just accept it as he's doing a good thing for the little kid. But he could have done a good thing for the little kid and not cross that line.
He could have just made them walk away and stood there until they did.
Or
publicly embarrassed them by saying, like, they're trying to pick on a little guy. Like, stand up on the thing and let everybody see you or
putting
something.
your pubes on a piece of pizza is insane. Throw that in the fucking trash. Like,
Yeah, it's...
you're going to now do something else.
And they both had to eat it. Not even just the kid who's,
It was just so inappropriate. And then that's one of the reasons that they've started to legislate against hazing and make it illegal. We have, in my experience, playing football and coaching football, they would progressively, they started having like classes at the start of every season saying, okay, guys, no hazing because we don't want to get sued and have the football program shut down.
I mean,
like it's
bad.
People miss seasons for it. People get fired as coaches. It's a whole big horrible thing. And sure, small hazing, like making the freshmen carry the water buckets to practice or things, that's fine. But
there's a line.
Definitely a line.
Yeah. Well, anyway, did you get that out of your system?
Yeah, it's my public service announcement.
It felt like you were moving a little bit into history while you were talking about that. So, did you want to just, go full in?
It didn't. You're just...
Yes, it didn't. You said, this is why they outlawed hazing. Like, I thought you were just about to tell me the history of hazing.
No. All right. Anyway, on to my History Minute.
Tyler's History Minute.
Which has nothing to do with hazing.
But now you kind of regret that it doesn't.
So we've already talked about this movie being an adaptation of Pygmalion.
We did.
So Pygmalion is a play that was written in 1913, or first released as a play production in 1913.
Shock Pikachu face.
And the story is about a sculptor, an artist, that falls in love with his creation that then comes to life.
Oh.
Which...
That's a little different.
Well, it's not really that different because Freddie Prinze Jr. is the sculptor. He's changing her into something else.
Oh, I was thinking she was a sculptor because she was the artist. I was like, whoa.
She's the artist, but it's her transformation into the person that Freddie Prinze Jr. falls in love with.
Gotcha.
Where they're paralleling that movie. So there's that. And then surrealism I have to talk about because there was a surrealist movement in the 20s line.
Right, from Laney Boggs.
From Laney Boggs. And surrealism did start in the 20s, 1924. And it's an art movement. It's a modern art movement focused around fantastical world of dreams kind of imagery. The two most famous people that I could find for that were Salvador Dali.
Isn't he a cubist? Oh, no, he's the one...
Melting clocks, how dare you?
Sorry, I get confused sometimes. Yes, I was literally making a melting clock in my hands.
Yes, she was. Or she was trying. Salvador Dali, famous for the melting clocks, he had a pet anteater.
Anteater?
Yeah,
really?
Interesting.
Did. I didn't know you could have those as pets.
He did. And then Max Ernst, who I'm not as familiar with.
I've never heard of him.
He did a couple paintings. One of them was The Barbarians, which is two giant evil bird monsters. There's another one, The Elephant. It looks like the elephant is kind of almost a tank for war. The reason for those things, there's a lot of imagery that is either off or kind of unsettling, is it actually came out of World War I, where people were very disillusioned with life after the war and the fact that we wasted so many lives for no real reason. And so that's where surrealism comes from.
So what I'm hearing is he's your new favorite artist, or?
No.
I mean, there was elephants and World War I, so I thought,
Oh, great. Yeah, thank you for that.
You're welcome. Anyway, so on to Audience Asks.
Audience Asks.
Okay.
So the mobile horror companion asked whatever happened to the guy on the left. And the guy on the left is Freddie Prinze Jr. because I posted a GIF with Freddie Prinze Jr. and Paul Walker.
So, yeah, he kind of died out. He was in a couple movies, but after Scooby-Doo and a couple things, it was mostly TV things, and he kind of faded out. What did happen to him? Because I have no idea.
Well, and what makes you think I know?
Because you get the questions in advance, so you know the answers to the test.
This is fair. If you actually use Twitter, you might have the questions in advance. But anyway, so Freddie Prinze Jr. was in a series of other romantic comedy type movies right after this, and they didn't do really well. They actually did pretty poorly. He then married Sarah Michelle Gellar, who had a cameo in this movie.
Yes. And
he became a father and kind of like started focusing on that. And then he ended up being on season 8 of 24, playing Colin Ortiz, and he had the worst experience with Kiefer Sutherland. I actually have a quote from him that he disliked him so much he thought that he was so unprofessional because he made him take off his shoes because Freddie Prinze Jr. was taller than him. His quote was, "I did 24. It was terrible. I hated every moment of it. Kiefer was the most unprofessional dude in the world." That's not me talking trash. I'd say it to his face. I think everyone that's worked with him has said that. So after 24, he pretty much took a step back from acting entirely and doesn't even really want to get back into it, but did start doing stuff with WWE. I don't exactly know what he does with WWE. I'm assuming he doesn't wrestle, but...
No, he would die. He would be snapped in half by one of those roided out monsters of a person.
But he does that, and he is a full-time dad. So, he's made that decision, and I
mean, that's really the way to go. If you make a couple $100 or a couple $1 million and you can just say, to hell with things, I'm going to do what I want to do.
One of our other favorites from the 90s/80s did that, but became a full-time dad, and he's coming back now, so woo-hoo.
Rick Moranis, for those wondering. Yeah, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, baby.
He's coming back.
Oh, we've missed you, Rick. You are a national treasure.
Yeah, so anyway, maybe that will happen with Freddie Prinze Jr. He's got a long way to go before he's Rick Moranis' age, so...
Although not that much for... He's up there now.
He's not that far up there.
No, but I mean...
No, but still. Anyway, but that was... did I say who said it? Yeah, the horror movie companion.
Yeah. Next audience asks.
Okay, so the next question is from somebody new to us. Woohoo! Dan is not the problem. He says, would you change your personal style to be popular?
Well, I don't want to be popular in the first place, so no.
But you wouldn't change your personal style for anybody?
I mean, I'll change certain things for you and people I care about, but it's for the most part, no. I am who I am. Like.
And were you ever that way? I mean, like in high school, did you ever wear like brands because other people did, or?
I mean, yeah, but it was not really any kind of thing. It was just my parents bought a couple things that they saw other kids wearing, and it was just like, okay, I guess I can wear that. Who cares?
Right.
It was never the driving force in my educational career, high school, college, whatever. It wasn't what I focused on. Like, I had things that I cared about that I focused on, and just ignored the noise.
Well, aren't you such a stand-up guy?
What about you? Would you ever change your personality to be popular?
Have we met?
Yeah, you're farther to the side of not wanting to be popular than I am. So you hate people just as much as I do.
If not more.
It's probably more.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible, if not 100% certain, that you do hate people.
Yeah. I don't think I've changed who I am as a person since, like...
Although I do say working in customer service gives me a run at the title.
It
at
does,
hating
but
people.
I think I take it. But yeah, so, I mean, for me to change... I can't imagine. I mean, you saw a video of me at, what, like 10, 11, 12 years old, and I was the same person.
You are the very sarcastic...
Yeah, I don't change for anybody. I mean, my style has fluctuated a little bit, and I will say that ever since that you and I got married, I mean, we are definitely very different styles, you know? Right. I mean, you're more on the preppy side of things, and I'm more...
I wouldn't know if I was preppy. I'm just... whatever's comfortable.
Well, more so than I. I mean, you wear polos and, you know, things like that. Where I was before we started being married, it was lots of studs and lots of leather and whatever. And I will say that since we've been married, I kind of toned it down a little bit, you know, to match our couple, you know, aesthetic.
I think I'm getting unfairly maligned in this. I wear t-shirts all of the time.
I'm not maligning you.
I don't wear polos other than to go to work. How dare you?
I'm not maligning. I'm just saying that when you do love somebody, you do alter a little bit. But at the end of the day, I'm still attracted to the same style, and I will still pick up those studs and wear my hashtag sweater.
Please, for the love of God, who stopped you, and how do I kill them?
But yeah, so, I mean, no, I won't change my style, but I can say that some things alter when you fall in love.
All right, so
we're going to do reviews?
Reviews. Yes.
Yeah, I'm dreading this because you told me I'm going to hate it.
So, Rotten Tomatoes has it at 41.
Well, Rotten Tomatoes is wrong. They're rotten.
audience score of 55.
Okay. It's better than 41.
It's better than 41, but still a
now,
D.
While we're doing reviews, you should mention whose movie this was their last review. I don't know how to say that the right way.
Oh, so this was Gene Siskel's last...
George.
Gene.
It said George on Wikipedia.
What's Gene?
Well, okay. Well, it says George on Wikipedia.
Gene Siskel's last print review was for this movie.
Yeah.
And he gave it a positive review.
He did.
At the time, because he apparently...
Enjoyed it.
I would give it a 6.5.
And this is why it has low reviews, because it is not a guy-oriented movie.
It's not a guy-oriented movie, but it's also not a particularly good movie in a lot of categories. There's no real thing that drives you. The acting's okay. I mean, the story is bland. What really is there other than nostalgia for the 90s?
It's a feel-good movie.
I'm giving it a 6.5 for nostalgia alone. Like, that's the only thing that has any merit at all.
Okay, fair.
So
you can like what you like.
Yeah.
I was gonna give it a 7. Now, if 10 Things I Hate About You didn't exist in the same universe as this movie, it probably would have been an 8, because I enjoy feel-good movies that don't make me think too hard and are just, that just make me happy and make me believe in that fairy tale love that, the movies show. Like, I like that. I'm drawn to that. But it is in the same universe as 10 Things I Hate About You, and 10 Things I Hate About You did it better, so...
So you're biased to the movie that you like more.
Yeah.
Which is understandable.
Yeah, that's what it is. So,
All right. I mean, I guess that's fair. All right.
So this is our last romantic comedy.
It is.
And
we are
I'm
moving out
sad.
of February.
Yes, so we're gonna take a break on those for a little while. I know that those aren't your favorite, and they're definitely not our audience's favorite, since most of our audience is men. So we're moving on to something y'all will like, I think.
So we're officially going to be out of February romantic movies and into March next week. My pick, I believe, right?
It is.
And we are doing the movie Snatch, which
we are.
is...
And why did you pick that?
Well, I think you would like it, and you haven't seen it, and it's kind of like Love Actually with a bunch of thieves.
Okay. I'm interested.
So, yeah, I feel it's going to be great. It's got a really good cast, too, so...
So it should be fun to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think you guys will like it, since, you guys have been a little bit sick of the romantic comedies. I get it. So we're doing that, and the movie after that is also not a romantic comedy, and is going to be fantastic.
Yep.
So March is going to be a good month, so make sure you stick around. If you guys want to be aware of, what movies we're doing, you want to be part of our audience ask, you want to just talk to us in general, we're on Twitter. I'm at CinematicallyC. Tyler is Blame Tyler CC.
Right.
He's never there, so my suggestion to you would be to write to me.
I'm occasionally there.
Well,
it's probably every other week, if not every other month,
yes.
really.
Yeah, so if you want to make sure you get him, write to me about him. You can just tweet to Tyler at my handle, and I will have him respond. You can also email us at cinematicallycorrect@gmail.com. It will go to me, but if it's addressed to Tyler, I will make sure he reads it. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have all these things. We don't really use them.
We have a website and a blog.
We do have a website, cinematicallycorrectpodcast.com. You can go on there and subscribe. You can get timestamps for our podcast. They are a little bit delayed from the actual episodes for a lot of reasons. I don't want to blame anybody, but
she's blaming me. She's 100%.
It's things. But it doesn't really matter, because if you guys are, listening to the podcast, or you're behind it all, you can go and see the timestamps and see what you want to see,
Yeah.
So I think it's a good idea. So go ahead and subscribe there. You'll get an email when the timestamp for the episode comes out, so you can check that out. And it helps us. If you click on the website and just kind of scroll around, it tells Google that, we're an important website and pushes us to the top. So
yeah.
Even if you just want to scroll around,
that's how we got
to
23.
That's maybe. So yeah, just scroll
which is
around
better than 24. Ha.
Really, full circle?
Yeah.
Full circle? All right. But yeah, anyways, so thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you to Jake at Atheist Music for our intro and outro music, and we will be back next week with Snatch.
Thank you for listening.